welcome to the news on NTAi International. I am Comfort Fashion and my sign language interpreter is Shegun Ajayi. And let's begin with our top stories. House of Representatives advocates reduction of multiple checkpoints at Seme border. Health regulators from across African continent are in Abuja to address challenges in the sector. Plus, West African Police Information Show System now operational, aimed at combating transnational crime and terrorism in ECOWAS region. Vice President Kashim Shettima has inaugurated the board of the Nigerian Independent System Operator, part of government's efforts to restructure and strengthen Nigeria's electricity sector in line with the Electricity Act 2023. SEDA's correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that the board is tasked with overseeing the operational and market independence of the system, aimed at managing critical aspects of Nigeria's electricity supply chain that include grid stability, system operations, power dispatch, and market coordination.
The creation of NISO is not just an administrative exercise, but a strategic move to transform and position the Nigerian electricity industry for efficiency and reliability. With the unbundling of TCN, NISO will now be at the heart of our power sector, facilitating seamless coordination among generation, transmission, and distribution.
The committee was urged to serve with diligence, integrity, and a deep sense of responsibility.
Major reform in our quest to transform the power sector for operational efficiency and for effective service delivery of a functional, reliable, and affordable electricity supply to our households, to our businesses, to our institutions, and to our industries, all for economic growth and national developments.
Integrity, discipline, good oversight of the power industry, and by God's grace and the support and prayers of everyone, we hope to transform the Nigerian electricity supply industry.
We're expected to hit the grounds running in terms of the sector coordination, transparency in system operations, transparency in market administrations, and making sure that there's grid reliability and availability and also quality of power to the teeming populace of Nigeria.
The unbundling of TCN into both the Nigerian Independent System Operator and Transmission Service Provider became imperative, and that is what has been done. And it also, suffice to say that this actually went through a very transparent and competitive process.
With the inauguration of the board, the success of Nigerian Independent System Operator will no doubt play a crucial role in shaping the future of Nigeria's power sector. King Charles III and Queen Camilla arrived at the Quirinal Palace in Rome for a state visit and greeted upon arrival by Italian President Sergio Mattarella on first full day of a state visit. Kulu Mohammed tells us more.
The 76-year-old king, who is undergoing cancer treatment, suffered a health scare last month, and he will address Italy's joint parliament and meet Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. The king, however, scrapped an audience with Pope Francis due to the pontiff's own health issues. In the company of the queen, the king will be in Italy for 4 days. The king and queen, in the company of the president of Italy, watched a display by the Red Arrows and the Italian counterparts, the Frecce Tricolori aerobatic team. United Kingdom's ambassador to Italy hails the historic royal visit. He said their majesty's visit would be intangible but priceless, that their visit would strengthen the closeness between the two countries and reset the relationship with European partners. In other news, Prince Harry arrives at High Court in London for appeal hearing over his downgraded personal security protection when he visits Britain, following Harry's split with the royal family in 2020 and subsequent move to North America, the British government said he will no longer be given the same degree of publicly funded protection when in the United Kingdom. Kolo Muhammad, NTAi News.
South Sudan has criticized the revoking of U.S. visas for all its nationals after it says the Trump administration mistakenly deported a man to the world's newest country who was actually Congolese. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced the visa measure on Saturday. He said it was a response to South Sudan's refusal to accept the return of its citizens being removed from the U.S. But South Sudan's foreign ministry said the move was based on a case involving someone who had been incorrectly identified as South Sudanese. It added that the individual was returned to the sending country for further processing. This is the first time the U.S. is targeting all passport holders from a particular country since President Donald Trump returned to the White House in January. The West African Police Information System, WAPIS, is now operational and subsequently handed over to national and regional authorities. The system is aimed at facilitating a regional central police database to combat transnational crime and terrorism through enhanced intelligence sharing. Kelvin NTAi reports.
Symbolic handing over of the WAPIS program took place at the ECOWAS Commission, where the Minister of Police Affairs, Ibrahim Gedam, received the documents from the Interpol representative on behalf of the Nigerian government, while the Commissioner for Political Affairs stood in for the President of the ECOWAS Commission. After 12 years of work, WAPIS is now fully integrated into the security architecture of several ECOWAS member states. At the moment, about 729,000 criminal entries have been collated, but the biggest challenge facing its effectiveness is the slow pace of digitalization of police systems in some countries, while the regional platform will also take some time to actualize.
The challenge is having all those countries contributing on their side, so allocating resource, but also deciding themselves to share a legal framework, to be consistent in the information that they do share through the police information system.
We've been supporting during 13 years, which is a very long time. And now we think the project is mature enough to fly with its own wings and to be owned by ECOWAS and the individual countries of the region. So now it's a little bit the moment of truth, because each and every country has to really commit with money, with staff, with resources, to ensure the sustainability over time of the WAPIS platform.
Want to stop is to stop criminality from the countries of origin, the countries of transshipment, that is West Africa, and then the country of the end users in Europe and other. So if we do not have that network that brings all these factors together, then the database will be limited to our region, in terms of exchange of information, which is a good thing. But like I said before, even at that level, we haven't reached there yet. Yeah, but it is part of the infrastructure we are building.
With an MOU in place between ECOWAS and Interpol on the implementation of WAPIS, its impact on crime control in the region is expected to be visible soon. In Abuja, Kelvin NTAi, NTAi News.
The House of Representatives is advocating a reduction of multiple checkpoints at the Seme border and deployment of technology to enhance e-customs operations and promote trade facilitation along that axis. This was when members of the House Committee on Customs visited Seme border for oversight of customs operations. National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Ikpe reports.
Customs officers keep eagle eyes at the Badagry-Seme Krake border post, said to be one of the busiest in the country. The Seme Area Command oversees the area, yet it is prone to smuggling of contraband items. However, the command accounts for 75% of overall customs revenue, realizing 1.9 billion naira for first quarter 2025 alone. These points underscore the maiden visit by the House Committee on Customs to Seme border to look into the books of the command and assess operational challenges.
In your operations, we need to know whether it facilitates trade to encourage more patronage of our ports and border stations than our neighboring countries. Because in Night Assembly, we ordered most of these surveillance gadgets, artificial intelligence for the border, which I believe by this year some of them will arrive. They will arrive, they will deploy them here to help monitor like 100 kilometers radius where human being cannot access.
The activities of your men on this road has paralyzed the economy of Badagry. Let me put it straight to you. When you mount 15, 20, 30 roadblock on the road,
what do you do that you have accumulated over time?
A lot of Nigerians believe that if your members are not, in cooperation with the criminals, a lot of these rights will not be, effective.
Every year, every day here, we see cannabis. And when we see them, we hand over to the NTAi. In Nigeria, we have 1,400 unmanned borders, 114 manned borders. So even if you line up the whole custom officers along this route, it might be quite difficult for them to eradicate smuggling.
Members of the committee saw for themselves the threat posed by ocean surge gradually encroaching on customs facilities at the Seme border.
There's need for embankment here. In 2025 budget of custom, this must be there.
Customs officials and other security personnel work tirelessly here at the Seme Krake border to curb smuggling activities which continue on daily basis. But there is advocacy that more men and technology are needed to effectively combat smuggling and safeguard national revenue and the economy. From Seme border, Mitaire Ikben, NTAi News.
In what experts described as a watershed for healthcare in Africa, health regulators from across the continent are for the first time gathering in Abuja, Nigeria, for the capacity building workshop of the Association of Medical Councils of Africa. Uche Ugochukwu reports that the crux of the gathering is a call to rethink, reform and rebuild health systems for a stronger, healthier Africa.
The 2024 Anqua Capacity Building Workshop is seen as a mission to fix what is broken and future-proof Africa's health systems through smarter regulation and visionary leadership.
Our discussion will illuminate strategies and insights that will bolster regulations' capabilities.
All the leadership is aligned to a common goal, patient safety, and this is why we're all here.
One of the most striking proposals at the gathering was a shift from bring drain to bring gain, with destination countries being asked to invest in training and infrastructure back home. Also on the table was a digital transformation of healthcare records, improved credentialing systems, and new cross-border agreements to regulate professionals and tackle malpractice with greater transparency.
Within these challenges lies opportunities to innovate, to collaborate, to build resilience, and positively redirect the trajectory of the health status of our peoples.
All regulatory bodies in Africa must be able to sacrifice finances for the state monitoring committee or local monitoring committee to function well in oversighting the areas of their jurisdiction.
And to improve governance, the regulatory framework in our sector, the coordination in our data system. That is consistent with the 4 pillars of our blueprint, of which governance is a key aspect of that.
This changes the belief could mean faster, safer care for millions, better trained health workers, smarter data for early disease detection, and stronger accountability. Stakeholders are hopeful that the discussions will translate into real, lasting change across Africa's healthcare systems. Uche Ugochukwu, NTAi News.
And let's take some time out for messages. We'll be back shortly. The Accountant General of Bauchi State, Siraj Muhammad Jaja, has been arraigned before the Federal High Court, Abuja, for alleged fraud running to over 8.3 billion naira. Jaja was arraigned alongside a Bureau de Change operator, Aliyu Abubakar, and his company, Jasfad Resource Enterprises. Others involved in the case who are allegedly currently at large include a former secretary to the Bauchi State Government, Ibrahim Kashim, the incumbent secretary to the state government, Aminu Hamayo, Saleh U. Muhammad, and Balarabe Abdullahi. The defendants are facing a 9-count charge bordering on alleged money laundering, diversion of public funds, and criminal misappropriation of funds. The defendant in the matter pleaded not guilty to the 9-count charge leveled against them by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The presiding judge, Justice Obiora Egwatu, granted bail to the defendants in the sum of 200 million naira each, with 2 sureties in like sum. National Executive Committee meeting on the Labour Party seems satisfied with the National Working Committee, as it has insisted that there is no vacancy in the party leadership. The meeting, which reviewed the Supreme Court's judgment on the party leadership, commended the court for affirming the authority of the party organs. David Irie reports.
The Supreme Court judgment was expected to lay to rest the leadership crisis rocking the party, but various groups are holding on to their position and interpreting the judgment to suit their case. This NEC meeting is giving backing to the Julius Abure-led NWC, insisting that the court judgment only affirmed the supremacy of the party and never sacked the national chairman, Julius Abure. It described as illegal the activities of the National Caretaker Committee, as the party constitution has no such provision, more so that it was constituted by those who have no authority over the party.
Leadership will not cede grounds to illegitimate, unconstitutional actors to take over the leadership of this party.
The NEC also resolved to take disciplinary action against Abia State Governor Alex Oti and the former presidential candidate of the party, Peter Obi, should they continue to act against the NWC.
Next in session hereby usurp its power to NWC to discipline, to take appropriate disciplinary action on Governor Peter Alex Oti if he went ahead to conduct that illegal meeting of Wednesday.
Some state chairmen, secretaries, and national officers attended the NEC meeting. In Abuja, David Irie, NTAi News.
Following the relevance of space technology to multi-sectoral businesses, national security, satellite communications and remote sensing, navigation and data systems, it has become imperative to pay attention to its regulations. This was the remarks by the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Uche Geoffrey Naji, at a stakeholder workshop on the implementation of the 2015 regulations on licensing and supervision of space activities in Nigeria, put together by the National Space Research and Development Agency. Haman Jabani reports.
Space regulation, spectrum management and licensing in Nigeria is crucial for the country's technological advancement, national security and economic growth. This is because without a structured regulatory framework, Nigeria risks insufficiency in satellite operations, spectrum interference and unauthorized space activities that could undermine its space ambition. This, the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Uche Geoffrey Naji, says can attract foreign investment, foster innovation and position itself as a leader in Africa's space industry.
We can build a space sector that drives innovation, attracts investment and delivers real impact for our people. Let us use this opportunity to build a legacy of excellence in space, science and technology.
Experts believe that through strong regulatory framework, Nigeria's global standing in space governance, opportunities to state regional standard by implementing best practices in space law and spectrum policy will enhance international collaboration, improve Nigeria's bargaining power in space-related treaties, and create job opportunities in the space tech sector.
We will effectively deploy our infrastructure to monitor activities within the Nigerian space ecosystem, both the upstream, midstream, and the downstream sector.
If you want to make money and you have 90% of people bringing their satellites, communication satellites, all the guys bringing satellites to do seismic studies, why should Nigeria depend on foreign satellites to know the amount of oil, and they don't pay?
Innovation is not creativity and intelligence. Innovation is connectivity to the market. When you hear on the innovation index this country is high, check. You will see that they're generating jobs and money and real fame.
Moving away from a 25 years of existence to a new space in Nigeria, NASDA unveiled its new logo, monument, and launched the Space Regulations, Spectrum Management and Licensing in Nigeria app. Hamman Jabani, NTAi News.
Journalists in Nigeria have been charged to set positive agenda that will deepen the nation's democracy and nurture the desired socio-economic development. A seasoned journalist and former Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Osun State, Ismail Omikidan, made the appeal when he hosted professional colleagues and friends to mark his Golden Jubilee anniversary in Abuja. Austin Anyebe reports.
Almost 3 decades of these journalists have been dedicated to reportage of multisectoral issues germane to the survival of the nation's democracy and development of the society. So, as he turned 50 years, he reflects on his journey so far in the pen profession.
Before now, genital mutilation was very rampant in many parts of the country, but it has reduced. It may not have been totally eliminated, but it has reduced. Open defecation at a point was a menace. It's reducing gradually. All these things are made possible through the media.
For professional colleagues and religious members, the celebrant has contributed immensely to the society and humanity, urging other journalists in Nigeria to emulate.
If it is something, you follow it up. So, congratulations, madam, congratulations, many more years on heart.
Its impact into journalism cannot be overstated, right? It started journalism right from when it was a puppet. When I say a puppet, even growing up, if my father is going to listen to any news or know what is happening in the society, it's only when Ismail comes.
Allah is an enigma, somebody defined by patriotic zeal, a Nigerian that is boundless like the sea,
guiding us in how to do the best, to bring out the best in us, especially in this field of journalism.
Blessings of God will not run dry in your life.
Despite the demands and challenges of journalism practice, the celebrant, who also authored a book, Persona Non Grata, has been a caring and loving father.
He's a loving father. He's responsible and responsive.
The number of people who turn out for the occasion speaks volumes about the personality of the journalist as they celebrate with him and his family for God's blessing in his life. In Abuja, Austin Anyebe, NTAi News.
We end the news here. Thanks for being a part of it. I am Comfort Fashion, and my sign language interpreter is Shegun Ajayi.